is open and Cassiopeia is taken off the board. JDG are going to have the opportunity to respond to that with maybe an Anivia. That is still a pretty classic counter to the Ryze. Also does have some flexibility, and like we said, Xiaoxu is no stranger to being able to go for some champions that aren't usually seen in the top lane.
See what the gauntlet drop is going to be for JDG. Let's go. Dude just says, give me the sticks, brothers. I will take us forward on this Lee Sin.
So this could be opening up for maybe a Renekton angle for Xiaoxu, because you need that lockdown to connect that Sonic kick. I think guaranteed lockdown is something that Renekton obviously provides with you with the empowered W, especially. Just any W, frankly. So maybe we'll see that later down the line. It's also a Xiaoxu favorite of his, but for now, it's going to be the Lucian, probably signaling that we'll have Melio on 3, unless ThunderTalk want to deny it, but I don't think there are many other great pairings with Melio currently in the meta, Mazel.
And I think I understand JDG's goals here, and it's to win fast, which is right up their alley. So, hey, at least they have that going for them. A lot of pressure already, but a lot of meta-defining picks coming through from TT. They got the Vi, they got the Rumble. They have so much lockdown for that equalizer play.
Yeah, Vi, the classic counter to the Lucian Melio. I don't imagine we'll be seeing any diversion by JDG. They're probably just going to lock that one in just because the cease and desist has so much value. And I say that Nami is being hovered, and yeah, they're going to fake us out. Melio going to be locked in. So we do have the full top side picked up here for ThunderTalk. Those comfort picks coming through. Junhao on a proactive jungler in the Vi that can really disrupt Gala and Vampire. My biggest concern for JDG, at least going forward, is their lack of lockdown. You pick a Lee Sin, you need something that has crowd control, and so far, we don't have any of that to give him a good early game.
Yeah, that's the toughest part, unless you just find those miraculous ganks as the Lee Sin and just get snowballing, but it'd be a lot easier to be able to guarantee those kinds of moments. As we move into the second phase of bans, we do see the Nautilus ban, so taking away further lockdown from TT, and something Feather has liked. He did pretty well on it last series as well, until it didn't. But that being said, going into the side of TT, they are going to start banning away some of those solo lanes. We already see the Annie taken away as well.
Yeah, they just want to deny the, point and click lockdown, try and make it as difficult as possible for JunJia to have these champions in the solo lanes that can really get him going on the Lee Sin. JDG, though, I think are going to probably double ban support here just because they want to make sure that Gala and Vampire have as easy of a 2v2 as possible. And this is something that we talked about. We said that they were likely, either going to match topside or just immediately snag up a bot lane pairing with jungle and take away some things that could give the Lucian Melio a difficult time in the first 15 minutes of the game. So I like that they're going that route. And On and Feather, they're no strangers to kind of having the scraps only left for them in the draft. This is kind of their thing. So I guess for things that are left open, you could go for something like a Senna Karma if you really wanted to. I do think you need another form of engage along with this Vi. So maybe something a bit more in your face for Feather likely to be drafted.
I would love this, though, for HongQ. It's something he very much popularized in the regular season, was one of the only mids that was truly picking this a lot. It will be picked up for them in their first game of the series. A big combo between him and JunJia now developing already. We'll see on the other side what the picks want to be. They've got the 1-2 punch here, and we'll have to wait for that counter pick for Xiaoxu.
I do think that Caitlyn and Corki are good for very different reasons. Caitlyn, obviously, you get the range advantage over a bot lane duo that is historically short on it, and Lux going to be the insta lock-in here for Feather. They are playing from a screen away. Those guns are not going to be landing any bullets on the bot lane of ThunderTalk, and last pick here going to be the Ambessa, immediately snagged up for Xiaoxu. So we've got that insta lockdown of the ultimate. We've also got that scrappiness that we talked about for Xiaoxu as a player. JDG are playing to their strengths, and ThunderTalk are doing the exact same things, Mazel. And this is what we wanted. Both teams playing their styles matched up against each other in game number 1.
And one of the key picks that we were talking about for JDG coming through here with that Ambessa for Xiaoxu. See if he can earn that second All-Pro nomination here and have some influence against a Rumble that has been running through the meta, it feels like, so much. But man, that bot lane, we were saying mid jungle and focusing elsewhere and getting leads for them. This bot lane is going to be hot and heavy. They are going to go at it, and I can't wait to see exactly how the earlier part of the pathing pans out for both junglers, because they're going to have a lot of influence to have on this bot lane if push comes to shove down there.
It's the playoffs, Mazel. Wouldn't want it any other way. All 8 teams that have made it this far playing to their strengths. For JDG, we've got an early game comp with the Lee Sin and the Lucian, and then for ThunderTalk, we've got a deathball team fight post 15-minute monster. These are the styles that they have cultivated, that they have found success on in split number 2, and it's all going to come to a head here in game 1.
It is indeed. TT back here. This is the first time, you know, a lot of people were talking about what were the buffs like for the teams that got to play from home from the play-ins. Well, now's the time to put up and shut up for TT. Yep. You are live. You are in person. It is playoffs for the first time for a long time for TT, and we have finally made it onto Summoner's Rift. Game number 1 of the playoffs and game number 1 of this series. We have TT versus JDG. Ah, Quax. Isn't it good to be back?
Feels so nice. Absolutely. Best of 5s. You know, best of 5s are always super fun because you can see them go the distance. You can see these teams, specifically ThunderTalk, who have never played more than 3 games this year, even in their best of 5. The one best of 5 that we saw from them in 2026 was a 3-0. So if this does go the distance, I'll be very interested to see if ThunderTalk have some stuff up their sleeves, as they have been a pretty typical team when it comes to the draft and very typical about their style of play. But JDG have been very chomping at the bit attitude to play anything that comes to their mind and anything that can, you know, give them an unorthodox edge.
Some vision game being played early here as we do path. I love these kind of cheeky backs that we see from the Lee Sins nowadays with that early longsword buy. As you clear those first camps and get to that level 3 mark, he is going to be quickly pathing up towards top side, though the influence from Junhao will be felt on bot side if he does want to go for anything. So far, some decent push coming out from TTs On and Feather.
And I am wondering if Feather and On can push in these upcoming waves. Maybe Feather gets the opportunity to roam. We haven't really talked too much about the support matchup, Mazel, but I do think that Feather has been so good at being able to find influence on the map early. So if they can get this poke bot lane to shove in the wave, free up this Lux to move with the Vi, maybe they can look for something on the respawned Raptors.
I mean, crazy games from Feather, especially on his Nami against IG. It was so impressive what he was able to do and what he was able to deny as well. As you take a look here at the spread, obviously Investa a little bit up in the air for him, but the big number I wanted to bring highlight to was the 4-1 record for HongQ's TF. Again, one of the ones that is consistently bringing out that pick in the regular season and trying to make it happen here in game number 1 as Junhao will be spotted on the bot side.
Just trying to clear out some vision. Doesn't look like he's going to be going on to the respawned Raptors, so JunJia is going to pick that one up. Obviously, by the nature of going for that, you do delay your reset a little bit, but given that he already has a longsword, probably not going to be the biggest deal in the world. Crucially, though, we talk about ThunderTalk in regards to their team fighting, and I think as long as Lucian and Lee Sin aren't getting any kills in the first 15 minutes, ThunderTalk can rest easy knowing that their 5v5 is likely better just compositionally.
Yeah, some of the catches and the pick outs they can have are so disastrous for some of the individual pieces of JDG. But we are returning to form here as we go back onto the map for our second clears for the junglers. Less than a minute until that first dragon here, and you do wonder what kind of tempo wants to be set by JDG and how they're going to approach some of these objectives.
And I do genuinely wonder if JunJia is going to focus this down as soon as he possibly can, because we talk about the early game. JDG really need to be the first ones making a move. I don't think ThunderTalk are in any real rush to be proactive, which will be kind of an interesting thing to see. I think that we complimented Junhao on his ability to outsmart Wei in the best of 5 against IG and be the guy first to a lot of the plays. I think in this game, it's kind of the opposite, where you don't need to be the first one. You just need to be scaling up, getting that level 6. And so Vi kind of just happy to have a cordial early game. And so far, that's what we're getting. Nothing too crazy has really hit the map. We've got some trading here and there, but no real kill threat has been had for any of these lanes, and really no angles have been seen by any of these junglers, as Junhao is just going to immediately actually start up the dragon.
The 2v2 bot lane is giving him so much room to maneuver, and it just means that they're going to be able to take this with Junhao claiming it way ahead of the grub spawn.
Teleport.
TP coming in, but he should just be going back to lane. Might want to push over here. You can see JunJia trying to get over as well. They're going to move into the river, but the dragon's already gone, Quax. I don't think you can do anything about it. The smite comes through. Dragon 1 for ThunderTalk.
Yeah, JunJia going to cross over, but he's going to be just a little too late. You can see he's sticking around on the bot side to clear some vision, but I don't think he feels confident enough to wrap around that big wall on the bot side to maybe look for the respawned Gromp or potentially something for a bot lane gank. So he's just going to cross back toward the top side. You can see Keshi is also having the wave pushed under his own turret. So there are no angles for Lee Sin to be aggressive. So far, ThunderTalk are getting exactly what they want, Mazel.
Just easy riding here in the early game. Not doing anything too much. Not letting anything go too chaotic, which I do expect this, at least this series, to turn into at some point. As JunJia is actually going to go for a bit of an invade. He's going to link up with Junhao, who's coming over to his red. Might get our first skirmish between the junglers here. Ooh. They're going to contest over the red buff. They're both sticking around. Nobody's moving just yet. Both top laners are starting to come over. The smite comes through for Junhao. He is going to secure that one. JunJia should use this as an exit strategy to go join up with Vampire and HongQ. But this is also something I'm really wanting to see come to fruition, is this trio roaming the map, because it is deadly. If a yellow card comes through, JunJia is able to follow through. Vampire is there to support as well, and they just haven't been able to find those links yet.
I was thinking maybe they would get an angle here, as On is going to probably take some damage, but will back out away. Destiny is always something that you have to consider whenever Twisted Fate is locked in, and so was maybe thinking in the back of my mind that HongQ could have ulted, but credit to Heru, he was keeping his eyes on the Twisted Fate the entire time, because even though the Melio is there to try and provide that disengage, if you get a rune prison and you're able to root him up before he completes the channel, that is a big ultimate denied, and that just kind of opens the floodgates over to ThunderTalk to be more aggressive. So Heru being in the face of Twisted Fate, I think preventing that play from being possible, and now level 6 is achieved here for the Vi, and one of the big reasons he picked the character is to counter the Lucian Melio. He's pathing bot side, so let's see that come through.
He is pathing bot side, and they do have a little bit of a push right now, so could find something. There is, on the other side of the map, about 10 seconds for a grub spawn, though, and honestly, for some of the siege potential, it's actually massive for both sides. So maybe trying to find a way to contest that one, or just giving it over. TT are going to move down towards bot side, and JunJia might just get free range on the grubs.
Yeah, it looks like Keshi is just kind of jailed under his turret. Doesn't have a lot of opportunities to move. As
that's the breath of life. Yeah. Got the 90 caliber net and the light binding into the trap. And here comes the Destiny Gate. He's going to go straight into CC here. They need to find the kills. Gala dashing forward. Is going to get it, but it goes one back. Junhao finds the kill. Don't tell me Junhao's about to get 2 delivered right to him. Wait, no. It's on a silver platter for Heru as he picks one up, and that mid-jungle duo is starting to run.
And that is absolutely worth it for ThunderTalk right there. On gets taken down, but the mid-jungle duo of ThunderTalk that we have hyped up so much in this series, Mazel, get the gold for themselves. JDG will get the grubs in return on that top side, but we have yet to really see that siege potential that you talked about come through around 9 minutes into this game. The plates are standing strong on the turrets of ThunderTalk as we get a replay here, and I feel like HongQ probably assumed that JunJia, or Junhao rather, was on the top side, maybe looking to contest, but he was in the bot lane. He was right there, ready to react, and they even give a kill over to Heru. So already getting the Rise off to a good start. We do see still that Twisted Fate has a gold advantage over the Rise, but that's fool's gold. This is just Twisted Fate Classics. Yeah, this stuff, he just generates gold. He spins strong to gold. He's Rumpelstiltskin. So is it real gold? Probably not. He probably counterfeited it.
This will be probably the last time I talk about it, but I've just got to scratch my head a little bit. HongQ came in against the Lux, who can absolutely just time it on the Destiny Gate, and was in turret range. Like, he might want that one back. I don't think we'll get to ask him, but maybe ever we get to ask him, he might want that one back. The thing is, though, with that small little gold lead, he has completed his row of first, so he's going to be stacking that one up already.
Yeah, that is a big deal. Good shout there, Mazel. I'm just kind of interested to see how quickly it's going to take for Heru to get on a similar item spike, as Rise, I think, has a much more grand 3-item power curve than something like a Twisted Fate. You pick a Twisted Fate for the pick potential, for the side lane threat, and I think having the grubs is a good way to do that. But the fact is, Heru has yet to be taken down, has yet to be punished, and he has started out this game with a kill. Junhao waiting in the wings to potentially influence bot lane, but they're just going to go straight onto the dragon again.
Pressure is just too much. They had push in mid, they had some push in bot, and now they just all collapse for a 4-man dragon. This would be second dragon coming through. TP coming out from JDG. JunJia goes over the wall. He wants the 50-50. He gets it. JunJia gets the better of the smite, but the cease and desist, the combo, everything, the final spark thrown at him. JunJia finally dashing out away. He is fine with the safeguard, and now he is able to put a little bit of pressure back. Not able to connect his Heru as they are trying to take the other side of the fight now. HongQ trying to get some influence in here. Keshi is able to lock down Xiaoxu for the moment. The flame spitter is breathing flames down JDG's neck now. Keshi coming to join, an ace in the hole to follow through on a HongQ, and it is chaos that we wanted, and it's JDG dying. A full ace coming through at 11.5 minutes.
And Junhao smacks HongQ right in the mouth to cement the ace for ThunderTalk. Like you said, it's an 11-minute one, Mazel. TT are fighting JDG here in the round of 8. Quarterfinals, first game, it does not matter. These teams are warmed up, they're on fire, and they're ready to go. Replay coming through here. JunJia getting the smite still. Didn't even connect the Q. That was just straight up a 50-50 between the two junglers, and he manages to complete it. Gets kicked over the wall to try and save face, and then Heru allowing him to complete this run warp. Not only does it reposition him to take down the Lee Sin, but also gets him away from the danger that is this Ambessa. I just feel the positioning from ThunderTalk was better in this fight, and it allows them to have a massive gold lead. Back to live, though. HongQ's in top lane.
This is the side lane play that we wanted to see from JDG. He will get the wave, mostly with the equalizer, should burn them down at least a decent amount of the way, but that will be a big pick from JDG to get back into this one.
Will be paid back, though. In the mid lane, we can see that a plate is being picked up here by Heru, but he's going to be walking straight into JunJia.
He is. JunJia waiting, but 2-level difference there. Doesn't really have what it takes to take down a row of stacking Rise. And some extra gold in the side lane with these turret plates going over to Xiaoxu. So some of that big advantage that TT was working with here is going to be chunked back towards JDG, but still a phenomenal start for the mid-jungle duo of TT, both sitting at 3-0 on picks that feel so good as the game goes on.
And this was where we said we wanted to see the action come from. I mean, Heru with some key realm warping technology in that last fight, repositioning himself to be able to get the kill onto JunJia and then get away from the danger that was the Ambessa. Now, it just kind of feels like ThunderTalk can make more aggressive plays, particularly on this bot side. Gala and Vampire, we said that this was a duo that needed to get ahead early, and they have been put behind, now forced away from their turret. They can't even get this CS that's about to crash, Mazel.
Yeah, I mean, they might just be able to finish off this turret here off that one. And that was just a threaten of the lean from Heru. He disappeared down towards bonsai. Pings came out, and they immediately pulled off. And that's first turret going down at 14 minutes or just before. And what a moment for TT to extend this lead.
And to the team that doesn't have grubs either, right? JDG were really hoping to get the early leads we traditionally see from them by knocking down plates and getting first tower to open up the map. ThunderTalk didn't get any grubs. They had no stacks of Touch of the Void. And so for them to get first tower and now move their mid lane, or bot lane rather, over to the mid lane to get further priority ahead of these objectives, it's a beautiful game plan, and it's beautiful execution coming through here from ThunderTalk. Drake, though, up in a little less than a minute and a half, and TT are looking poised to position around this bot side river and control that area.
Look at this lane gang coming through from Heru. This is some tech here, man. I want to see if he can catch out Xiaoxu. He's going to take his place. They should be looking to swamp a little bit here if they want to, as they did deploy him up towards top side. It's a little bit of 3v3 action developing mid lane, and that's what I want to see kind of progress here as we move forward. There's the Rift Herald up on the board now, as well as Dragon in 50 seconds, Quax. As Rift Herald already started up by JDG.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering what JDG are hoping to do here. They can go for the Herald, but it's going to be spotted out by ThunderTalk. They know JunJia is in that area, so now they're actually going to channel for it. They don't want to give this up at all. They want to fight for every neutral.
That's crazy. They're a scaling comp. They say, we want to push the advantage now. Cease and desist coming through. They're fully focused on JunJia. 3-man Dragon Rage kick there as the Rift Herald gets secured by Junhao. Junhao going to continue the fight as Xiaoxu overextended himself and On takes him down. JunJia can't do anything while he watches his team being picked apart by the wolves of ThunderTalk.
JunJia trying to get the Herald, likely to buy them some space into the next Dragon fight because they know they're behind in gold, but it comes back to bite them. ThunderTalk with a blue ward, spot that one out. Keshi TP's in, all of TT are on the same page, and they rip the JDG solo laners down. Replay coming through here, and I love the boldness from Junhao to go in. He doesn't really have much vision of where the top side of JDG is. He sends it anyway. He goes over, goes back in at half HP, secures the grubs, and then from this point onward, JDG have completely isolated their top laner. They are not on the same page. They're going in one by one, and they're getting picked off one by one, Mazel. Now back to live. Yeah. Dragon is up, and this is a rite of passage for ThunderTalk.
I mean, I was just sitting there focusing on being at an amusement park. It felt like he was just sitting at one of those stands where you just get the stationary gun that just keeps shooting over and over. He was untouched. He was just sitting there hitting headshots left and right. Yeah, and like this team composition is starting to come together.
Like the water gun where you have to aim it at the hole and then like
just gets to sit there and free fire.
Get the like spring thing up, and then if you get it up far enough, you win like a prize. Yeah, that I'm really just was a spectator in that fight. But he was a happy spectator. This was the most enjoyment he has been
had to hit the target.
Deriving from the game so far, as I think all of ThunderTalk are enjoying this game. 4 out of 5 members with a gold lead, and 3 of which I would say are pretty significant at 17 minutes into the game. Really the only one on JDG that is finding any success is Xiaoxu, and that's not where we said we wanted to see the early game come through here for JDG's comp. We said we wanted to see JunJia ahead and Gala accelerated, and both of them are 2,000 gold behind their counterparts.
And another thing we had talked about is when JDG don't have those early game leads is when they kind of lose sight of what they want to do. And I don't think that's happened yet. They know what they need to do, but the execution just hasn't been there as of yet. And we're going to see if it can come online. Maybe these are some of the changes they've been working on, that mid to late game decision making. But their draft is going to be fighting against them. Rift Herald play in the mid lane. Junhao was thinking about going back in. The yellow card went down for HongQ. That was almost a re-engage by TT as they fully crashed 5 members into mid lane. The light binding, the breath of life, barely saving out HongQ. JunJia's now the target. He's going to flash, but he's burning. It's Vampire going through. The burn hits. It's going to be Heru taking him down. That's the DFT, baby. Welcome to the league and welcome to playoffs, says TT, as they move a Realm Warp over to try to move out of the base of JDG.
And ThunderTalk are just shocking JDG. They're shocking us, Mazel. This is a team that we didn't expect to hit as hard as they would up against the 2nd seed going into playoffs, but they are winning out on the skirmishes. They are finding the picks. They are positioning better, and JDG are getting punished at every turn. A replay comes through here. HongQ forced to flash. Breath of Life immediately burned. JunJia, he's so squishy. He gets hit with the Deathfire touch, right there. The burn comes through for the rise, and then Junhao again going in, no fear. This man just does not know when to be afraid.
What a moment from TT to open up this series like this. An almost 6,000 lead over one of the best teams we got to see at the end of the regular season, and it's a hell of a come up for them. I want to do a check-in, though, since we haven't in a little while. We do have second item precipices reached, especially for Gala, which is a big spike for the Lucian.
Yeah.
But that same thing can be said for some of the scaling pieces of TT, and that is terrifying.
And despite what the Lucian breakpoints are coming through here for Gala, the fact remains this is still a champion that is incredibly short range, that has to kind of walk up a little further than your average AD carry to get the damage coming through. Walking up to Heru and Junhao in their current state just seems like a death sentence. So this game is really difficult for the Lucian to play. And I just feel like it's going to get harder and harder as time goes on, because at every fight, it just seems like ThunderTalk are more coordinated and are executing better.
It's the same team play we saw as they felled the mighty IG Beast. And maybe they're looking for another head here. It is the start of a long best of 5, I'm sure, but it is one that TT is going to feel pretty confident on moving forward. But now it's about closing the game out. I think that's something that JDG have shown. They are pretty darn scrappy as things come down to it. About a minute away for another dragon would be sole point for TT.
JDG are like that one kid that you're trying to put the seatbelt on, but they really hate how tight it is, so they constantly
finally get it on, and then you turn around and you hear a click.
Yeah, you hear a click, they want it off. It's too tight, right? They just refuse to have the seatbelt on. So you have to keep, like, just, you know, clicking it back in. And I feel like ThunderTalk are going to need to end this game decisively. We saw some really clean closing games from them against Invictus Gaming, so I'm not worried about their ability to do so. But JDG, like you said, Mazel, they are quite resilient toward these later games. Dragon up, though, in about 15 seconds. You can see JDG are positioning around this, and Destiny to mid lane.
Yeah, HongQ not able to find the damage there. The follow-up wasn't there just yet. TP play coming in from TT. Keshi's going to come. He does have the equalizer ready to go if they want to find the engage here. It's going to be the entire camp actually secured by JunJia. But it's so much setup ahead of this dragon. Maybe JDG just want to give it up.
Yeah, I feel like that might be the proper option here. HongQ doesn't have ultimate. You don't have the cheat the vision tool that Destiny provides, and I just feel getting into the river is going to be a tall task for JunJia. He does have the wall to get over. He could look for another steal, but Heru is here to make sure that doesn't happen. So TT
he's on
better
vision.
positioned. Yeah.
They can just burn him down. JunJia literally cannot play the game.
Oh,
Heru just said no as he stands, as that is JunJia almost getting ace of the hole, but the fight beside him is now kicking off. Gala is just about to die.
Heru!
Gala just gets taken down. Heru's running rampant over here over JDG's dead bodies.
And Heru trying to one-up Junhao in the X Games mode fearless factor that ThunderTalk have been putting on display here in game number 1. Realm Warp into 3, it does not matter. Keshi now being aggressed onto by Xiaoxu.
Nice
He's trying to look for a desperation play, but does get out. Baron going to be secured here for ThunderTalk. 2 members down for JDG. And Mazel, are you not entertained, my friend?
Hell yes. The TT story continues to thrive. Almost 8,000 gold up over the 2nd seed in the playoffs. And Heru just stood in front of JunJia and said, "You shall not pass."
I love this positioning from Heru. Like you said, making it impossible for JunJia to really get over that wall. And then the Lee Sin is completely sectioned off from the fight. So Heru feels confident to go in 1v3, and he even gets a kill under Gala. That is just ultimate aura moment from a rookie mid laner, mind you. This is a player who a lot of people were excited to see come up from the LDL and finally participate in Tier 1 competition, but didn't really get off to a hard start, or a hot start. I think him and Keshi really had a difficult time when they initially landed in Split 1 here for 2026, Mazel, but over the course of time, over, you know, the last 2 splits, I feel have really come into their own, and we saw that come to fruition in the play-ins. experience. We have seen it come through in this game. The performance from these two has been amazing to see, but Heru really has been the standout for this squad.
Second seed group Nirvana, second seed group Ascend. Maybe not so different as we take a look at a steaming TT. And they're looking to take down JunJia down a peg again. They're in the side lane with the Baron buff. Still have a minute and 30 with that buff up. Can really do some permanent damage here as Heru tries to go for the bounce of the Breath of Life to get them away. But that is some serious damage done. And this comp is so deadly in a siege.
They are. Xiaoxu looking for an ultimate there to start something up.
Dude, Gala just can't do anything.
Yeah, you're too short-ranged. I'm sorry. And I mean, look on mid lane as well. Keshi is pushing onto the tier 2 in mid, so it's not going to be just one turret claimed. It's going to likely be two as well. JDG are being pulled apart, split from one another, and ThunderTalk now have found an opening.
Everyone from JDG left HongQ on an island, and that island has been sunk to the bottom of the ocean by TT as they look to pound in this inhib turret and take down the inhib potentially as well. Still 45 seconds on this. It feels like this buff is lasting a lifetime for the JDG members.
A lifetime and more for JDG for sure. They're trying to fell against the siege of ThunderTalk, but TT with the 4v5, they want to end it now.
I mean, they didn't even need to. They were a scaling comp. We said we love their comp as time goes on. They say, no, I don't care about that.
JunJia.
What is JDG to a ThunderTalk Knight as the last turret finally falls? 4 members collapse on the Nexus, and TT strike first in the playoffs, going 1-0 lead in this best of 5.
Less than 25-minute win for the second seed of Nirvana against the second seed of Ascend. There is no gap between the groups. Let there be no doubt about that. And Mazel, what's crazier to me is even just 2 weeks ago, we were talking about ThunderTalk in terms of relegation, trying to get out of that position, trying to continue their splits, trying to continue their year. And the fact that they have now just taken a game off of JDG, biggest 180 turnaround ever.
I'm just starting to wonder what they're feeding those boys over there, because I need some. I want to know. This has been insane. You played 5 best ofs, and they were best of 3s. And you come into best of 5s, it looks like you can win every single game and go to MSI. I know it's a little fun and a little bit early, but my God, this team has put together what they wanted. Like, the thing I harken back to is this team is doing it how they want to do it, right? We've seen these style of comps come through time and time again from them so far here in the play-ins and now the playoffs, and they just execute it well.
They really do. And a lot of that credit has to be given over to the mid jungle. Again, I know we sound like broken records here on the broadcast, but the early game
skirmishing, how important it is.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we're being proven right, because the early game skirmishing from Junhao and Heru was immaculate, was masterful. HongQ's influence that we highlighted as to what he can do with the side lanes and what he can do when paired up with JunJia for those aggressive early game jungle invades were completely mitigated in this fight. The Twisted Fate had basically no proactive ultimates that ended up working out. And this is HongQ's premier pick, by the way. This is the ace in the hole for JDG, and it didn't work out. So to see now that HongQ's 2 most played mid laners, Rise and Twisted Fate, are fearless away, that has to feel pretty rough. I assume that JDG were really hoping to get off to an early lead with just comfort picks coming through here in game number 1, but that got shut down. It never got off the ground, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, when you draft something like that, a comp like that, you are saying we're putting the pedal to the metal and we ain't stopping, because it was early snowball they needed, early snowball they did not find. Especially looking at that bot side, there was really no lead to speak of down there. It was something that would have been really important and impactful for the composition itself. We still saw the trio come together, right? We still saw JunJia and HongQ and Vampire try to link up and make things happen, but the execution just wasn't there. And something I've noticed in the past for LPL, after having covered for so long, it feels like, is momentum is always important in League of Legends, but for some reason teams thrive on it in the LPL, and it just feels like there's always stories in playoffs of teams who got a little bit of time off or have a bye or whatever it is now that the play-ins is existing, where they just come in a little bit cold, and teams can absolutely take advantage of that.
They can. And so JDG, they're going to have to warm up fast because even though it's a best of 5 and you do have 2 more chances to round this game back in your favor, round this series rather, back in your favor, it does feel pretty bad for JDG because I assume they imagined ThunderTalk would be not this strong. Frankly, Mazel, I don't know how you were feeling going into the series, but I think we could maybe join them in that sentiment. We assumed JDG would be favored, but ThunderTalk being able to come out to a dominant Game 1 win, that wasn't on our bingo card.
Got to give a shout out as well. Fastest game of the play-ins so far. It's technically like the play-ins are different than the playoffs, but it was just about 9 seconds faster than the Weibo LGD series game that was like 25-57. So hey, some quick gameplay from TT taking down the 2nd seed, by the way. The 2nd seed, I said that correctly, of the playoffs here in JDG. I do expect JDG to have some sort of bounce back, some sort of answer, some sort of comfort to really rely on here.
Yeah, we talk about the comfort picks being denied from HongQ with the Twisted Fate and Rise being fearless away, but there's still plenty of things in the back pocket of JDG that they've got running. I mean, we had an entire graphic about the crazy technology that could come through from the top laner in Xiaoxu for the top side of JDG. So maybe we'll see some of that. I imagine Tabe is like, you know, he's like a card master in one of those TV anime shows where he is like, I do not want to use any of my trick cards this early on in the tournament, right? But then his opponent is like way stronger than he imagined. He's like, oh, you're making me use my trap card this early, unexpected from you.
When does he pull out the 52 pickup?
Yeah, exactly.
He gets so angry, he just throws the cards up in the air.
I know,
he
just starts like chucking them. Are you able to throw cards like that? I know some individuals aren't actually.
I can't, but he's gonna cosplay HongQ. He's gonna sit there in front of HongQ and start throwing cards at him.
He's gonna gold card HongQ IRL after that game. Yeah, and I mean, again, we're kind of talking about JDG as like, oh, you know, you should have been able to win this game, but like, can't overstate how impressive it is the turnaround that ThunderTalk have managed to get on for themselves over the past couple of weeks. Again, a team that was close to relegation in Group Nirvana, fighting tooth and nail to get to their 2nd seed, which was very close in the runnings, by the way, all the way up until the last series of Nirvana was played. We really weren't sure what the standings were going to be. And so for them to not only get 2nd seed in Nirvana, which was a bit of a surprise for us, but then also 3-0 in the play-ins, and now here, Game 1 win against JDG. You talk about the momentum, and I can't help but now start to be interested in if ThunderTalk can start propelling themselves forward in this best of 5, how big of a shock that would be.
Oh, you're interested now? Well, so am I. And so is everybody else, because what the hell is this TT team? And where were they all split log? This has been insane. And they are the 2nd seed from Group Nirvana, even though it was a very chaotic ending to that group down there. But still, something super important to highlight is this run is real. You can pinch yourself all you want, but this is a TT who is showing up in the right moments. And we got to think about who's going to be getting MVP as we move forward here, Quax.
Yeah, my vote would definitely go over to Junhao. I know. Jungle bias. You can say it all you want. I think him and Heru are the clear favorites to be in the running for that award for game number 1, though. And both equally deserving. I just felt like Junhao, you know, the decision making to go for the early dragons to kind of instigate these early game fights was on him, and so that is what propelled ThunderTalk forward to get ahead as quickly as they did and also shut down JDG's plan of early game snowballing. So credit over to him for not only making the plan but also executing it very nicely every single time.
Yeah, that's impressive stuff nonetheless. I think it has to be. There were some fun plays elsewhere, but I think it all boils down to some of the setup there at least. But I think that's something else we're going to keep looking at as we move forward here in this series as a whole, which I'm very curious at what JDG's pathway forward is, but that'll be something we talk about a little bit later on. And hopefully we don't have to wait forever to see what MVP gets unleashed for game 1, because this is taking a long time. I
mean, they have a lot to talk about on the actual feed, because I think the whiplash and the realization of, oh my god, the second seed Nirvana team just took a game off the second seed Ascent team. Like, yeah, I'm still trying to process it too. So take all the time you guys need to decide the MVP, because I think getting all of the points across of just how monumental this run for ThunderTalk could be is something that needs to be discussed. And Heru is the guy that wins the MVP for game number 1. Again, thought it could be him or Junhao. Thought it was going to be Jungle, but I still think the Rise should be given a ton of credit. Absolutely gapped HongQ. And this is, like we said, the second All-Pro mid laner in the LPL. So no small task.
Yeah, no small task indeed. And he's just been carving them up here over the last little bit. I mean, now he's had 2 Rise performances that were insanely good.
Yeah.
One against IG and now one here. Just an impressive performance from both that mid-jungle duo. I'm so happy that we decided to kind of highlight them, because they are just so damn impactful on the map itself. But that being said, before we get going here into game number 2, we've got to give a huge shout out to all of our coffee supporters. If you'd like to be a coffee supporter, please go check out the link in chat. You can consider becoming a member there. It's the best way to support the LPL English project. It is a project full of passionate volunteers that put a daily contribution on this giant project that we all love so much, and your contributions go directly to paying the volunteers that are a part of this and being able to purchase broadcast upgrades and also fund some of the content that we will have coming out as well in the future with interviews at internationals. And you get also early access to some of the content that we've been putting out on the YouTube as well. So please consider becoming a coffee member. And if you do, we'll be very thankful. Thank you all so much. That is it for game number 1. We'll be heading off into a break before we get ready for game